Hello and welcome to Alchemist Swim. I am Alchemist Jen. Hope you're having a good day. It's been a bit since I have filmed one of these. So I had some issues with my apartment complex internet and it kind of threw off my whole groove. And then I was just delayed in posting, so I'm like, I'm just gonna take a break. So, you know, you just kind of follow sometimes the natural things that end up being there to just take some changes. And so I did, and I'm back. I'm back, baby. You might not even realize that there was ever even a moment that I was gone. Or maybe this is the first time you're seeing me. It's all good. It's all good. So today's whim of the day is to go over a couple of doodles of the day, which I've for the most part kept up with. I think I only missed 2 since I started them not that long ago. So I'm going to start with Make a Splash, which is a mercow, as I've been calling it, but somebody else called it a moo maid. And I'm like, why didn't I think of moo maid? So I can't decide if I want to go with what I was calling it or what the other person called it. Dilemma. But that is super fun. This one is today's little ratty. I used to draw lots of rats. Had a comic for a while that had a rat and chopstick. Fun fact. Pow. And then this one is for tomorrow. Hugs. Everybody needs hugs. Right? Why not? So that's been fun there, doing some doodles of the day. So those are on my other platforms as well, so you can check those out. Just trying to keep things moving, keep things posting, keep things building and potentially growing, and I don't know if it's working yet, but it's keeping me active, at least differently than I've been. So I'm gonna continue working on some knitting and talk with you about some things that I'm working on. So I did order yarn, so that will be coming in the next bit. So I got some fingering weight that I'm going to use to restock a couple shops, and then I also got some of the cotton. So my goal in the short term is to make one pattern at least, and then be able to set up the kits and things and put out a call for testers, start building my tester base. People that I'm going to have reliably to test my patterns is kind of my goal out of this, is to start building that and to start growing that part of the business that I'm working on. That will also help me get more visibility, I think, as a pattern designer. And so it's going to be exciting just to kind of see where it can go from here. I think it's a very interesting avenue. I don't necessarily see other dyers doing amigurumi line, so it kind of is another level of interest, I think. So I'm excited to see where it can go. And then I definitely think that it's, like I've talked about it a little bit before, I definitely think like I can keep the costs a little lower due to having smaller skeins available, and then also just the upfront costs are a little less. So those are my thoughts on that. Yay! Yay for progress and growth and awesomeness. So we'll start out pretty simple, kind of beginner patterns, I think, and then be able to expand from there. I'm going to some of my more complex patterns, which I tend to do. So I like complex things. So I definitely thinking about, you know, which ones I want to start with, being able to have samples available to send to the shops that I have the yarns as well, and I'll have the kits available for. So that's just something I'm kind of looking forward to here. It's a good time in the summer to produce these so that I can have them available for fall and winter, and then gift season. So those are my thoughts on itchy nose. Fun allergy season as well. So yeah, so those are things that I'm actively working on. I'm still working on a bunch of things that I'm dyeing. Some clothing. So working on some of that. Had some ideas about how to create designs with using kind of a relief method of kind of muck dyeing. So a muck dyeing is when you have your items that the fabric that you're dyeing, and then you let it sit in the liquid dye as it cures. Another way you could do it is put it on like a just blanking on things. Just something that's going to drain the liquid through it. So like my brain is awesome. Anyway, so like mesh or something that is going to allow the liquid to run through your dyed piece versus it actually sitting in the liquid still. What I've discovered is that if it's in the muck dye, so it's in the dye, the water in the liquids, the dye still wants to go through some of the fabric pieces depending on where it's sitting. So I was able to get some results on one of them recently that showed divots in the container that I use. So I was like, wait a second, I can actually create designs and have some designs show up through these relief settings. So I'm going to play with that a bit. I'm trying to figure out what my best materials are. Something that's going to be durable and can be reused is something interesting. I am interested in doing some 3D printing, so I need to learn how to do that, and I have access to 3D printers, which is awesome. So that's kind of where I'm going for that part, and I'm really intrigued by being able to do that. Other things that I can do is to create things out of metal. So there's some metal shop I have access to too. So there might be metal that I can bend and get into shapes as well too. So that's intriguing. And like what else was I thinking? I can use different types of plastics and things, but I think that I was just trying to think if I could potentially even do like some sort of relief printing to some degree if I can, if I have the right feel to it. So I'm trying to work on some elements that I just play with it. You know, it's something that is very much an experiment. So it's really fun to experiment with that type of thing as well. So I'll see what kind of works and what kind of pans I can use to get similar results. I'd like something that I can just put into any container to get some interaction with it too. Another thing is that if I do choose to do something over a screen that the rest of the garment, for instance, would allow the liquid to go through the garment and all the way through versus stopping, but I could also have some areas where it does pool. I could play with how that impacts the piece as well. So those are some magical thoughts I'm having. It's really kind of interesting to play with dyeing. It really is like painting, but you don't know what you're gonna get. It's a lot more open, but there's a lot of things in it that feel experimental and like abstract painting. So I really enjoy those type of things, especially not knowing how it's going to show up and be until after it's rinsed and washed and those type of actions, just because of how much the dye is still, they're actively, you know, working on the items, or that they, you know, there's extra and then it needs to come off. So it's just really fascinating just to see just how it turns out, and you can't really plan for it. I like that part of it too. It really is something that just kind of develops and can surprise you. I like surprises. And it just also leaves room for not being attached to anything perfectionist, but allowing yourself to be open to possibilities and outcomes, which is really cool. So those are my deep thoughts for the day, my whim of the day. Knit, talk about my current projects, and show you my doodles of the day. So I am looking forward to getting back into routine with this. My other job schedule will be a little bit more consistent as far as the time of day, so I am looking forward to having more consistency there with that schedule. So I think it'll allow, even though sometimes the types of shifts will be more stressful, the balance might give me more, I guess, routine and consistency to be able to do some of the more creative things that I want to do. I don't know. I could be wrong. We'll see. It's, change is inevitable. Change is inevitable, right? So that's what's going on with me. I hope you're having a good day. And we'll see where the whim takes us tomorrow. Thanks for joining me.